Okay, Sinatop. Native Wellness Institute. We're coming to you live from Dillingham, Washington. Hey, no, Dillingham, Alaska. Anyway, every Wednesday we come here to talk to people who are healing and need an uplift and are positive, productive, and proactive. So, Nistu Nidaniko Mokoyo Sakoyi. And as you see, it's Valentine's Day, so my little 5-year-old just gave me a kiss, and she put a little sticker on me. So this power hour is going to be about love. We're going to talk about love, and you can talk about loves you've had, loves you want, and loves you are currently with, and loves that you want to kick to the curb. Eh? so so we're here because we've been invited. Brother Mike Duncan, Native Dads Network, and Love Duncan are here from California. And Mike is meeting with the men because we discovered that men need to meet with Native men, and that's how they heal. So they're in another building near here. So we're in the elders building. Yay, check out those elders. Look at Mary Jane. Mary Jane. Thousands of people. Wave at them whenever if you want to come over and talk. Mary Jane, she's a badass. So we're gonna Love is our technical person. She's going to hold phone. And our first guest is an accomplished artist. Anyone else who wants to come talk and come get a chair? And Amber Webb, I met because of Ashley Loring, Heavy Runner. I met her and she had etched a picture for Missing and Murdered of all women. And she was just kept etching them in this giant, I don't know, 35 by, it was a big cuspic. And I saw my little niece, Ashley Loring, Heavy Runner's picture, and I cried. And I prayed and I cried. And so Amber is known as, she has lots of jobs. She's an artist, but she was born and raised here. And last night she took me and Mike, I think we slid more sideways than we slid forward. so we're, and it was cool because I like to slide sideways. And then when she brought us home, she wanted to see if her Jeep could go through solid ice, snow, and she drove it just like I would drive it. Woohoo! 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 And we had our seatbelts on, but it's the kind that makes your other derriere pucker. It makes you pucker. So she is our first guest, and what I love about this is love. Woo, love. Just want to tell them where you're from.
I'm from California.
Hey, ooh, but love, ooh, she's growing into many things, and she can be a facilitator. She's got the most beautiful voice, and I just seen her kindness and compassion. And last night, she just went out and got all of us these, because today you should tell everybody that you love them. Even your exes, send them a present. Hey, you give them the child. Hey, let them raise the child. Ah! Instead of alimony, give them the children. Let them raise the Oh, I'm just teasing. But love, look what love gave me. Ooh, these chocolates. We enjoyed them, but it's about giving. When you love someone, you need to give them some of your time. And we're eating moose. Look at, I have seaweed and what kind of berry?
Seaweed and herring eggs.
Oh my gosh. And then I have moose. Look at, I already slurped up the moose. And Mary Jane, woo, she just takes that moose marrow and she slaps it in the mayonnaise and she slurps it up. And then we have salmon. Oh gosh, and then Will, what up? Just like fished a whitefish, just like flopped it out and cooked it up. So I got like whitefish, I got like trout. Badass Auntie's being fed well here in Dillingham, Alaska. So our first guest, we're just gonna Amber, would you mind just sharing with us, and Love will be our technical person to hold for you. What's happening in Dillingham, Alaska? What's going on here? We heard people were healing.
Today we have men's and women's gatherings. So our kazik, our community house, traditionally the men would work with men and the women would do things with other women, and we always had a lot of community teamwork. So we created an activity where everyone could come and we could have people who identify as men healing with men and people who identify as women healing with women, and then we could all come together at the end on the last day and show love for each other and meet back up. So this is part of a series of wellness gatherings that we've been trying to just encourage every opportunity we can for people to find healing and wellness. Everybody's welcome to come to our events, and we're so grateful for Mike and Theda for taking the time to come here. We know they're very busy and they're doing all kinds of incredible things, and they took the time to come be here with us. So we're trying to take really good care of them and show our appreciation. And yeah.
Love. So that's Amber, and we have a whole sisterhood here. We have sisters who came from up north. We have sisters who came from the south. And we were just happy because we were testing the system, and we burnt some condor medicine from Peru. And we lit it, and woohoo! The fire alarms went, and the whole town went off, and everybody ran around screaming, hey! They said, free at last, free at last. So we have another guest, and this is my little sister, but she's taller than me, and I say little sister because we just met, and she knows some Blackfoots. She's met some Blackfoots, and then then we just learned when she was at the university or in college, she has other sisters who they learned to have. There's a special kind of drum which we'll share with you in a minute when Tiffany comes on, or anyone else that wants to speak. We'll share that drum. But the sister, did you make the mousse? Did you make this soup?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Audrey's the one who was working on the drum.
Okay, so Audrey, if you would like to, whoever can come and sit, because we're on for about 45 minutes here. 4 to the 8,000 people watch this, so we're telling them what you guys are doing in Dillingham, Alaska. So I wanted to invite Sister to speak. And on anything that you want, but could you share with us as a young, and I say young because when you're under 50 or younger, right when you hit 50, okay, I'm going to tell you, right when you hit 50, you realize you're not going to live forever, and you realize you have to take better care of your body. But it's not until then you kind of abuse your body. And that's okay. It's okay to abuse, but that's the only place that you're going to live, and you can't move out. Duh! You can't move out of your body, so why be mean to your body? So this sister looks like she thinks spiritually, and she thinks emotionally, and she thinks protocol. Yes, yeah, I see the happy. We don't answer the comments. We're only here for this is Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. You can come join us. There's all kinds of things going on. We'll be in Hawaii next month. Come to Hawaii and be with us. We are bringing thousands together in June. We'll be at Bainbridge. We'll be at the House of Awakening. So I want to give some time. We have certain guests, and we're just eating moose, and we're chowing down. And so Sister, I invited her to come sit, and Love's gonna do Love is learning the technical part. Love, okay. scoot into frame.
Adet, everybody, it's good to see you, and thank you so much for hosting this Wellness Wednesday. My name is Denali. I'm Degatan, Athabaskan, and Supyak from the villages of Gitanacheg, otherwise known as Anvik, on the Yukon River, and South Naknek here in Bristol Bay. As Auntie Theda was talking about, we're eating a delicious bowl of moose soup that the meat was harvested here on these lands, here in Chogyong, Alaska, and Dillingham, and some of the meat was smoked. Moose meat is kind of like our bison, our buffalo. It's one of our cornerstone species that makes sure that we are feeling good and healthy and strong in our bodies. We're in the middle tail end of winter here right now, so people's freezers might be getting towards the end of their harvest, and I'm one of those, and so I'm super grateful to be able to last night be in ceremony and be making this moose soup for this gathering here today. I think when we are having these wellness circles and we're trying to, we're learning and we're remembering our foods, the foods from our lands, like this broth, this meat, the potatoes that were grown in Fairbanks, Alaska, in the interior of the state, they're so necessary because they remind us of our connection to our animals and also of all of the minerals and vitamins that are in the earth, like in these potatoes right now, that are nourishing our bodies and making sure that our cells are grounded with the land and grounded with those other animals. So I love lunchtime and being able to eat with everybody here and making sure that we're nourished in a good way.
Okay, so keep the camera on. I have a couple questions for you. We're all learning together because we're telling you the untold truths here. And so, could you share? We call it tamoko. We call it, and so for my work in New Zealand, we. So I guess I can start, camera me, and then I would. Can you share with us healing and getting, I don't want to say tattooed. Okay, so when my father died, and I don't know if it's when my father died and I was grieving in 2022, I went to my sisters that were Maori, and I went to, and yeah, we're gonna talk about body healing art. So when my father died, I was raised in a culture that the only ones that had tattoos were either in prison, or they were drunk sailors, or it had to do with being drunk and putting tattoos on your body. So I had to throw that stereotype out. And when I went to Deidre Nahula and Sid Jackson, and Sid, they were the ones who took over Auckland. All the Trump buildings there, they took it over like they did Alcatraz, and they occupied it for a year and a half with a giant waka, which is a canoe that could hold 400 warriors. So they took me to Rotorua, which is, there's a volcano there. And the volcano is a blessing. It doesn't erupt, but they have healing waters. And I went into a ceremony, and over there, you don't say, "Oh, I want a butterfly." Sorry, do all white people get a butterfly? I ain't no white person. So, I'm sorry. We're talking sacred. Hey, no. So, I went there, and they put me in a ceremony. And I cried till my snots came out. And that healer, and we call them traditional practitioners, he said, "Go walk on the volcano. And when you come back, I will have your design." And so, I'm like, so I just wanted a little tiny thing, but he had never seen a horse in his life. But my dad had horse medicine. My dad could break horses. My dad could telepathically talk to horses. And so I went out, we went for a walk, and I had my daughter, and we had a young man named Nathan. And so when we went for a walk, it took 4 hours to put this on. And he said, "I would do better if I acted like and lived like my ancestors. that I wouldn't do good if I tried to fake ass act like other people. And he didn't say fake ass. I'm saying it now. So I try not to be Chinese. I try not to be African American. I try not to be Salvadorian. And I do have some white blood. Sorry, white blood. I love you. I made peace with it. My little finger has disconnecting. Okay, here we go. It's reconnecting. So I'll make this quick. Since this Taomoko was put on, I have healed from the grief of losing my father. I realize my father is with me because I'm just like him. He liked to laugh. He liked to eat slow. He was compassionate. And the only thing that ever ruined anything in my father was alcohol. Because when he began to consume alcohol because of his pain of being thrown in a boarding school and not speaking English, and he was told he was a dirty Indian, and he was told he was a lazy Indian. So my dad, he'd buy white T-shirts, and if he got a little spot, like he compulsively didn't want to look dirty, he would take that T-shirt off and put a brand new white, clean T-shirt on because he didn't want to be a dirty Indian. It did all kinds of things to him. He got tuberculosis. One lung died. So I say my dad, I'm saying this because my dad was horse medicine. My dad could make willow furniture. My dad could make drums. My dad could make rattles. Hey, he made me! Woohoo! That sperm! His sperm entered my mom! Woo! Just swam up the tunnel! Whoa! And there was an egg! Woo! And my mom's egg and the sperm just went, woohoo! We're gonna make Theda! So that's my Taomoko. This Taomoko Thomas Clark did when we were in Auckland, because I told him I wanted to honor, this is your female side and your male side. I needed to honor my grandmothers, the midwives, the matriarchs, and my mother that gave me life. So this is what they put on their chin, Taomoko. And then we brought him to United States. So when we brought Thomas Clark, we brought him to Native Wellness Institute. We brought him over. And so I said, Tom, can you help me? Because I need to trust men. I don't trust men's hormones. I don't trust men who womanize. I don't trust men who are predators. I don't trust men who lie. But I love men. I don't know, sometimes, like I said, I talk to you. Muffy said, Theda, are you two-spirit? I said, I'm 5 or 6. Because sometimes I do things better than some men. Hey, now you got to figure that out. Hey, no. Anyway, I will, but I like men. I loved my father. I loved my uncles. I love my brother. I didn't have any sons, but I have a whole bunch of adopted sons. I love them. And so he did this Taomoko. And this is what goes on the Maori men's face. The warriors had a whole Taomoko on their face in their wakas. So I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to have our two sisters, because there's a reclaiming and a re-emergence around body art that helps you heal. Okay, and so our camera woman, love is learning to do this, because yes, love has got about 80 more years to live, and she's going to break some barriers, and in a good way, and she's going to bring happiness wherever she comes. And maybe she'll even sing for us. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to go to Sister. Hey, what is your... Oh.
So there's something really special about my friend and I, Denali and I, that we have in common. We're both from mixed backgrounds, and that's really special because as we're reclaiming tattoo culture, we're learning how to integrate our identity in different ways. And so as we're reclaiming tattoo culture here in this area, I've heard people say in the Dillingham area that we didn't have tattoos because they can't remember. But I've also heard other people tell me about their grandmas and the tattoos that they had. So coming back to the gusbuck, when I was making this 13-foot gusbuck and I was drawing hundreds of portraits of women that had been murdered or gone missing, what happened is I started to understand that where our tattoos fall is related to where the shadows fall on our face. So it started to become clear to me that you can tell where somebody's tattoos should be, and if you can tell where their tattoos should be, then you know where they come from. You know where their family comes from. And so our tattoo traditions tie us to the land that we come from and their identifiers, and there's a lot of different meanings that people ascribe to that. I've heard people say that we're making ourselves beautiful for Creator. And so I did the best that I could when I got the tattoos to get tattoos that would fit Sugbiak ancestry and Yupik ancestry. And then like looking at my own face and like just kind of figuring out where the lines should fall. So that was how I kind of came to what lines I wanted. And then one thing that I think is really beautiful about having the markings is that after I got the markings, then people started to share with me like their grandma's markings from all over the Bristol Bay region. And so the longer you have the markings, the more familiar people and comfortable people feel to share their own stories about the markings. And for the generations that were told that those markings were evil, that they were bad, you're showing them that this is a part of our relationship with Creator, and that it's really special and sacred. And my sister here has a really beautiful story about her markings. I'd love for her to share. But.
And then did you have a question as well?
I'm after.
Okay. Yeah. Dogaden Kleana for sharing, because I'm reconnecting to my dad's side, to this region here in Bristol Bay. I was raised by my mom in Fairbanks in the interior of Alaska, and also so I was able to return back home to South Naknek and then to Anvik in the summertime. But I was raised in the city. But I received my markings, and I'll go a little bit closer so you could see them. And I felt the need to ground myself, and then also we don't have our rites of passage ceremonies as much anymore, and I was really craving those rites of passage, and craving something that would allow me to move forward in the work that I was doing. So during my last year of college, I went and worked in Washington, D.C., and for the Wilson Center's Polar Institute. And I knew that doing that work in the Arctic and being in some place like Washington, D.C., it was important to be seen. And like Amber said, I come from mixed ancestry, so I'm light-skinned, and there's a lot of colorism, there's a lot of judgment around people's color in this nation, that's caused a lot of division, caused a lot of strife. But the tattoos were a way to ground myself and make sure that what I was saying would be grounded in the truth, and to connect me to the ancestors, to allow them to speak through me, and then to move forward. So I got them on January 11th. I remember driving down. I drove from Fairbanks to Anchorage to receive my tattoos from Sarah Wallingloon. And before I did, I've traveled on the road quite a bit. And if you travel across Turtle Island, it's dangerous as a Native person. It's dangerous as a Native woman. We have an epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous peoples, and a lot of that comes from the road systems, from the highways. And my mom was concerned. She was really worried. She didn't want me to get my tattoos because she said, it's gonna put you in more danger. And I said, well, that's even more of a reason that I need to do it. And she said, okay, well, I want you to go and, ironically, go and look at the anthropological record to make sure that I was doing it in the right way, because like the region down here, you know, there was people that didn't remember those stories, that didn't remember having tattoos. I'll shorten the story. And I received my tattoos. My mom was, you know, she said, well, I'm gonna let you do what you need to do. Went through that passage with Sarah Wallingloon, Ink Stitcher on Instagram, if you follow her. And she's a Nukbiak, and has been part of the revitalization of a lot of the tattoos across Alaska. And, you know, I went to my grandfather's, to my papa, Rudy Chase's house right after I received them. And I walked in the door and he said, those are your great grandma's tattoos. He said, I have not seen those tattoos since she was alive. And that was the recognition and the healing that was really needed for our family. So I'll stop there.
Okay. And so I wanted to, one of the things that was shared earlier, and the question I wanted to ask you, because I was born in 1956, and I've been doing this for 4 decades, helping Native women heal. And one of the things to heal is helping women to find their voice. And because when I first moved off the reservation, I was so naive. I thought the whole world was Blackfeet, and I thought the whole world only spoke Blackfoot. I didn't know there was other kinds of people. So I made mistakes, like when I first saw African Americans, I just run over and their braids stuck straight out, and I was a child, and I went over there and I started touching their hair, which is a no-no. You should not touch people's hair. But I couldn't understand why their hair stuck straight out, and I thought it was so cool. You know? So I went to my Hawaiian friend Halumi's house. And so when I went to Halumi's house, they didn't eat with forks and knives. They ate with chopsticks, and I didn't know how to eat with sticks. And so I learned how to do that. But when I brought her to my house, I had to help my friend because she had never ate with what we think are things to eat with. And so she took the plate, and all she could do was shovel the food like this because she didn't know how to use it. And I'm saying this because Native Wellness Institute, this is about when you're learning about other cultures, you have to learn in steps. And so I want the 2 sisters here, and I want anyone else, because Native Wellness Institute, this goes out to other women. It saves their lives by what your story is their survival manual. So whoever else, you know, come and please share with us, because I just finding your voice. And I heard you say earlier, can you say something about how do we find our voice? And you know, I was told by Mayans, and we just let some medicine from Peru. In the Mayan calendar, I was born April 20th. Is flint, and flint is your tongue. It's your most powerful weapon, is your voice. But when we never can hear your voice and you don't share, because there's a time to be quiet, it's impossible to heal when we can't hear your voice. So can you say something about finding your voice with your markings?
Yeah, so Tokuden, if you see, I have additional markings that go down that cover my my throat. And in a lot of teachings, you know, your throat, this is a sign of vulnerability. So I'm really opening myself and being vulnerable to you all into this room here by showing that throat. I received these markings in March of 2021? 2021 or 2022 by Jody Potts, who is Han Gwich'in. And it was important, you know, I said that I had gotten my markings from a Nukbiak woman, and it was also important to then receive other markings from a Gwich'in, an Athabascan speaking person, and that's Jody Potts. I was told in a dream that I had to protect my voice because of being in spaces where I was public speaking and talking with people. In my work, I do a lot of work around advocacy, specifically around lands issues here in Alaska and fishing issues, and it's hard work. It's you know, trying to advocate for our lands and waters. You have to make sure that you're grounded, that you're listening to your peoples in order to be able to advocate in the right way. And also you receive a lot of energy out there too, because we were talking about this earlier, there's not good energy that's out there that's really trying to win, whether it's the fossil fuel industry, oil and gas, extractive industries, and that's oftentimes in advocacy spaces who we're up against. And so I was told that I had to protect that throat, protect my voice, because again, you open yourself up to so much energy, criticism. It's really easy to get into words that are fighting words rather than coming from a place of love. And you know, today's Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day!
It's a day to celebrate love. And I think the more that like I'm learning to tap into my voice, the more that it's asking me to step up and love myself and believe that when I speak harmful words or when I don't speak the truth, that I have to first learn how to love myself in order to heal from that, and then be able to reach out to those that I've harmed in order to come into good relationship again.
Oh, that's beautiful. So we're going to ask in the room, and this is spontaneous because healing is spontaneous. Anyone else that wants to share a part of their healing story, please come and sit in this chair right here. So please come now. So this is Native Wellness Institute. This is Nistu Makoyo Sakoyi. And we are bringing positive, productive, and proactive healing. And again, we were invited here, and this is a beautiful place. It's snowing outside. We might even have a good little blizzard, and we're eating good indigenous food. We're making medicine pouches, and it's a universal teaching because we're making these pouches with many different kinds of medicine. And as soon as we get off here on the Power Hour, we're going to learn about more medicines and we're going to do more healing. We're doing it now, but we're coming to you live with some untold stories. So I'll tell you one thing that I noticed, and then our next guest will speak. I've been in my work, and this is with heteros. I'm going to go hetero for a minute. With women that have babies by a man, and that man betrays them, or that man leaves them, or that man cheats on them, and they have that baby and it looks just like the man, they transfer that hate into that child. They don't know it. They still feed them. They're still nice to them. But you'll find out when they become a teenager and they use the drugs to numb out. They use the drugs for anxiety. They attempt suicide. And so this is like I'm not saying in every case, and it's not to inflict guilt. That's why we come to you, because this is how you heal, so you stop the young deaths, that you stop the suicides. Suicides often are two-spirit, LGBTQ, transgender being bullied online and being bullied in person. So knock it off! Duh! So our next, so we're healing, and it's just it's a fabulous day. It's 2024. We're only in the second month, and this whole 12 months we're going to do healing. So our next guest is going to share with us some healing stories. And thank you, Love. Love is she's just badass. Turn that camera around. Show them how badass you are. Yee! Okay. So our next guest, I just love this woman. Who are you?
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and Tiffany Webb. I'm from Chilliwack, Alaska. The thing that I thought I wanted to share was that when I've had different experiences with healing, sometimes people have to correct me, and my ego says, no, you're wrong. And so I think that what I felt to share was that when people correct you, try to take it and think about it, take it in for a minute. We have a teaching that you have to give words time, like Yupik teaching, you have to give words time to travel to your heart and back to your brain. I learned that from Mary Jane. I'm not sure who Mary Jane learned that from. She's behind me. You can see her. It's just funny that she's behind me.
That's badass, Mary Jane.
But it's freeing to be able to say that you're wrong sometimes, and it's not easy for me. I've had a hard time learning how to say that I'm wrong, and I've had to do it a couple of times, like today, this morning, and then yesterday, and so learning the difference between holding your ground and holding a boundary and saying here's where you have to stop right here, but then also being able to meet somebody halfway and say here's where I have to stop, here's where I have to respect you. And so I wanted to share that. I think I feel like we have to be tough as Native women so much of the time, that we should have time to be soft and to have fun. And so if you spent a lot of time being tough or holding boundaries, just remember to have fun. That's the reason that we heal, so that we have a good life. We're doing this together because we're important to each other. We love each other. So, thank you.
And thank you, Tiffany, because, one time my grandpa, we were raised to be tough and to not cry. They'd say, don't, you remember your parents saying, don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about. Really, really tough parenting. But tears, Tiffany Grandpa said, he said, people that don't cry, it might be because they're stuck in its trauma. He said, but you have to cry because the tears fall all the way down and they travel down your body and they water you. That's how you grow, is from tears. And so crying, and that's, we don't tell a baby to stop crying, right? You come into this world crying and everyone's smiling. And when you die and leave this world, you should be smiling and everybody should be crying, because you have all those unconditional, beautiful relationships. And so tears, thank you, Tiffany, because we've had a lot of tears here. This is our second day, and we're gonna, if there's anyone else, one other person who wants to come and speak, come. And as you can hear, we got the beauty, we got innocence here, children running around. We have some elders in the back, flipping the bird. No, hey. Like a bird, not like that middle finger, like this. Come on, you guys. So, Native Wellness Institute, we come to you every Wednesday because we keep the teachings of our ancestors alive, and we never try to judge. So we bring you live on edited Natives, Indigenous, and First Nations. So I'll put in a plug there. Say prayers for Cindy Woodhouse, who is the female chief of AFN. She's going to be the speaker at the United Nations in March. And she will be speaking about the healing of Native and First Nations. And we think she's going to wear her headdress. So you heard it here live on Native Wellness Institute. So we're gonna get back to our healing circle here. As we say, we join. You can go to YouTube. We have 500 of these power hours free. Native wellness healing should be free. And so you can go there. We have some really good ones on loss and grief. We have some really good ones on courtship. We have some really good ones. It's African American Month. We have a lot of Black Indians, half Native, half African American. If you go to Mark in the past Februarys, he's going to be training with us at the Native Wellness Institute's Barbie's Village a week after next. We're going, and then we're bringing on a new two-spirit trainer, Dwight Francisco. Dwight can tell his story, and I'll let him tell his story about being on the down low with a wife and children and not being hetero. Hey, and how they have made peace and they're co-parenting, and he could be who he is. He's our trainer. So woohoo! Yeah, all the hearts. Yeah, thank you. So Native Wellness Institute, we come to you live. So we're in Dillingham, Alaska, and we just wanted to give you a taste. I hope you could see the flavor of the healing that's happening here in Dillingham, Alaska. So with that, we'll see you next Wednesday. And we never say goodbye, but we say Kitakito Matsuno, which that means I will see you later. And you know I'm watching you. So you bet.
Yeah.
Say it loud. Say it loud.
That
Ah.
means I love you.
Oh, Mary Jane said I love you. I just love her. You should have seen her when she came to Montana. We went down to the Crow Fair. It's like 1,000 teepees, and and Mary Jane just walked in like she owned the place. Hey. I go, what do you want, Mary Jane? She goes, do these Indians make fry bread? I go, heck yeah, they make some dynamite fry bread. We went up to this crow stand, and they all like looked at Mary Jane and they go, ooh, she's real. I said, no, yeah, Mary Jane ain't fake ass, eh? She's a real Alaskan native. Look at her. No, she's beautiful. So I think they gave you a free taco. They get crows don't give nothing free. Ahaha, absalaga, akpadadia. No guy, that's how akpadadia is how they say creator. You know, we love you. I see all the laughs. So kitakito maksan. Now I'm joking on my own word. Kitakito matsuno. Kitsikako, man. I love you, and we'll see you next week.